Okay, so now that we have all of the edges trimmed, we are going to put our template in the mold, and then we're going to mark where all the wood structure goes. And all of these are pre-cut, but templates made for these, so you know what size they are, and they just get glued into the inside to support the stab. So one thing is, I only have one mold for my stab. It's fully symmetrical, so I just have to remember which side is which. So this one is the top. That's where the hinge was that we put, so I need to remember where that is. And we're actually going to cut out a groove to allow for the elevator to pivot, because this is not a full flying stab. Although it could be, I just chose not to do it that way. So I'm just going to put this tape on here just to keep everything in place. And then take a pen, and I'm going to mark where the wood is going to go everywhere. This is our hinge line right here. Right here, these are very light 1/8 inch balsa triangles that, I guess you want to call them triangles, that are just going to keep everything, the sandwich, from collapsing, but they don't provide a whole lot of structural support. It's very soft balsa. So, and right here is where the control horn is going to go. So we want to put a balsa block right there. So then you just go back in. What I do is I just make little notches so I know where the lines go, but ultimately I need to connect those dots with a straight edge. First one I made of these, I put the carbon on this side of the balsa, and then I couldn't see my lines because I'm trying to draw a black pen on balsa, or I'm sorry, on black carbon. And then I watched a video of BVM laying up a wing for an Ultra Bandit, and I noticed that they actually put the carbon after the first layer of glass on the other side of the balsa, like I did. So that's the way I've been doing it, just because I guess if BVM does it, then it's probably right. So those of you guys that are watching this and have ever thought that fiberglass airplanes are too expensive, now you see how much goes into it just to lay up a part. On top of the fact that you have to build the mold, which takes a lot of time in itself. Okay. Here's our hinge line. Here. That's where I want to take out that material to allow the elevator to hinge. So on both sides of that line, I'm just going to make a nice, easy score, but I don't want to go too deep and go into the glass below. I just want to take out the balsa. Gotta be very careful doing this. And then remember, we have our peel ply hinge underneath. So then I use a screwdriver that I sharpened, basically labeled it chisel, so I remember that it's a chisel. And I just go in here, and this is definitely not an area that I try to rush. Just take my time to get this material out of here. So in some spots I didn't go quite deep enough. Sorry, I know this is a little boring, but I can't rush this at all. I don't want to. I've done it before where I've gone too fast, too deep, and I've cut through the top of the wing, you scratch the mold. Definitely not a good idea. Better off taking your time. You could probably also use a triangle chisel and just carve out a groove here, but you got to be absolutely perfect. Make sure that when you score the edge on the outside, you're right on top of that area. If you're not, then your hinge is not going to work right. So by taking about a 1/8 wide area, it gives you a little bit of margin for error for where you cut your hinge. Just going back and cleaning this out. You can feel where the peel ply is. You just got to be real careful. This is another reason why maybe it's a good idea to put a couple layers of peel ply than just doing one, just in case you go a little too deep here. Okay. We got that all cleaned out. The next step is to start gluing in the wood pieces, so we'll do that in a second.